The first process of the build, acquire and implement domain, called Manage Programs and Projects, has 14 practices. The 11th practice is to monitor and control projects. The entities responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the project management office, and the audit function. The entity that is held accountable is the program steering committee. The practice receives no inputs from internal or external sources. It generates 3 outputs, which are the project performance criteria, the project progress reports, and the accepted project changes, all to be used internally. The activities involved in this practice include establishing project criteria that cover the scope, quality, cost, risk, and other relevant aspects. The project performance should be measured against the set key performance criteria, and any significant deviations should be assessed and analyzed. The project progress should be reported to all the relevant stakeholders. Changes to the program should be submitted for approval, documented, reviewed, and monitored. The deliverables produced after each project phase should be approved and signed off. The 12th practice is to manage the project resources and work packages. The entities that are responsible for this practice are the business process owners, the project management office, and the head of IT development. The entity that is held accountable is the program steering committee. The practice receives no inputs, but generates 3 outputs, which are the project resource requirements to be used by the BAI01 process, the project roles and responsibilities to be used internally, and the gaps in project planning to be used internally as well. The activities involved in this practice include identifying the required business and IT resources, and properly defining the roles and responsibilities. The decision-making authority should be defined, along with the escalation procedures and levels. The required skills for each project phase should be identified, and a skill matrix should be developed. The management of third-party services should be defined and assigned to specific roles. The execution of the work should be performed as planned, and any project plan gaps should be reported and remediated. The 13th practice is to close a project or a project phase. The entity responsible for this practice is the Project Management Office, while the entity that is held accountable is the Program Steering Committee. The practice receives 2 inputs, which are the Remedial Action Plan and the Post-Implementation Review Report, both from the BAI01 process. It generates 3 outputs, which are the Post-Implementation Review results to be used by the BAI02 process, the Project Lessons Learned, and the Stakeholder Project Acceptance, both to be used internally. The activities involved in this practice include defining the procedure for a project closure, which should include the post-implementation reviews and assessments. The project deliverables should be verified if they provide the expected benefits. Any uncompleted activities should be assigned and monitored. The project lessons learned should be collected from the project participants, to improve future projects. The stakeholder acceptance of the deliverables should be obtained. The 14th and last practice is to close a program. The entities that are responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the project management office, and the chief information officer. The entity that is held accountable is the business executives. The practice receives the same inputs as the 13th practice, and generates 1 output, which is the communication of program retirement and ongoing accountabilities, to be used by the BAI05 and 7 processes. The activities involved in this practice include properly and formally closing a program, and disbanding its related organization. The deliverables should be verified and documented. The program should then be removed from the active investment portfolio. The program deliverables should be constantly optimized, and additional future investments should be considered if needed. Other sources that provide further insights into this process include the Project Management Body of Knowledge, and the PRINCE2 framework.